Hello, this is Michelle Matrana from Divine Intuition, and welcome to my first little podcast I have here. Just something to listen while you are driving, while you are hanging out, taking a break, or going to bed, whichever you like. You may hear this podcast when you are very centered and having time on for yourself. So I felt like I needed to make this little podcast, just this personal podcast on my channel, just to speak about certain things that are in my mind and I've been contemplating or kind of channeling in a sense, because I do tend to channel things, and I guess you can take it as a podcast, or you can just see it as a form of expression. So kind of like putting myself out there to express certain things that I should have probably expressed a long time ago. But now, just during these times, I kind of have the time now to express myself in these things, and especially during these tough times, very challenging times. Many of us are going through difficulties in terms of finances or in terms of jobs, going through the recession, I would say, or the after wave of the pandemic. That's another way of mentioning it. So I felt like, why not, start recording something and talking about these things here with everyone else in my channel. So that's what I'm going to do now. So sit back and relax and, listen to these kind of things with an open mind. Not take everything too serious and judgmental about it. Let's try to open our minds to these topics and conversations and see the possibilities of where it can lead, right? All right, so I think the first thing that I would like to talk about is things happening at work, during the recession, because I come from an artistic field, right? So it's an artistic field I come from. So I can talk about my own personal experience, but I know other people going through similar situations, because this is kind of like a global situation happening right now. And I think I will relate it to the global situation, my personal situation, to the global situation that's happening right now. So I guess I'll mention some personal stuff mixed with some worldwide things, right? Well, in my situation, since I come from an artistic field, I come from the animation industry. So I work in the animation industry. I'm a design artist in the industry. And definitely a lot of my colleagues and everybody from my industry are going through some sort of challenge right now as well, in terms of, going through a hiring freeze, let's just say, because of the writer strike and everything happening around worldwide as well. So we are certainly trying to get ourselves back up with these things, but things take time, things take time to recover. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to kind of endure, right? These situations, and slowly but surely will slowly kick up again, but there will be a pause. So there is some sort of pause happening at the moment, and that's what I want to talk about. Actually, I want to go further into this topic of this pause, let's just say. I kind of want to talk about what this pause is about, and this is something I kind of channeled a while back. Actually, I kind of sensed this a while back, and then it kind of further developed as we got closer to these events. So, as I mentioned, I am from the animation industry, and we are going through some challenges right now. And I kind of predicted this a while back, because I kind of predict. Well, I do tarot reading as well. I'm a tarot tarot reader, and I kind of channel, and I am quite psychic in a way, but still in the process of development, I would say. But I do have a highly, I'm very tuned into my intuition, which is divine. So that's why I call it divine intuition. So I like to channel things from my divine intuition, I would say. So yes, but also I like to connect, to my other aspects of myself, like my creative endeavors and my artistic skills, and like to use that as a profession. So yes, so I was quite aware of what was happening, just because I had this intuitive feeling about what would happen soon, and I felt that there would be some issues in regarding the industry, and not only because of what's happening with the pandemic and the recession. It's more than that. It has something to do with corporations in general. And this is something I've been feeling for a while back. And I've been kind of trying to remove myself from that situation for a while until it was okay to come back, right, into it again. But we need to survive in life, and we need to earn money, right? So once in a while I would have to go back to that. But I could see a while ago, I could see that there are a lot of things happening in certain companies and corporations that need to be cleansed or rebooted, in a sense. There is some sort of reboot happening. That's what I would like to mention, and about having an open mind when I talk about these kind of things, is that there is a cleanse happening, and there is a sort of reboot happening, and we have to kind of view everything in a way as a computer. I have to kind of see that everything is kind of like a computer in a way, and we have to uninstall certain softwares and reinstall new software, right? There are certain viruses around the earth that we need to cleanse, right? So we have to cleanse certain places around the earth, certain places around the countries. There is a cleanse happening in the earth, and these cleanses, they're gradual. They're not suddenly drastically there's the cleanse. No, these things take time. These things are gradual cleanses. You don't have one cleanse one day, and then the next day there's your computer all cleaned up. No, this is different. Earth is different, and of course, Earth is organic, right? It's not a computer. Earth is more like a beautiful blue crystal. It's a giant crystal, basically. So, and you can research that online, and you'll see that Earth is basically, majority of it is a crystal, right? And it's organic, and it's a living conscious being. The Earth is a living conscious being. It has its own functions and its own awareness, and it's also ascending like human beings, evolving like human beings, and it has chakras like human beings too. So it's a living conscious entity. It's Mother Gaia. It's a mother, right? It's also a feminine energy. So she's going through a cleanse as well, right? So, and we are like the cells of the earth, right? We are the little cells that live with her, Mother Gaia, and sometimes little cells have viruses or can be cancerous, right? And so, like a human being needs to cleanse itself. So does the earth needs to cleanse itself, right? So if you start seeing things in a bigger picture, then it's much more easier to understand what's happening, right? Instead of seeing everything like little bits of parts, right? Instead of seeing things into pieces, you see things into a broader perspective, into a bigger perspective, broader picture, right? So that's what we're being asked to see things right now in this moment, is to see things in a bigger picture, not just in pieces, right? And I understand why it's hard to see that in a bigger picture, because we are like cells in the earth. So we see each other or everything or situations into pieces, right? Because that's all we can see. We can't see in a broader perspective, right? We're also limited in this dimension, which is third dimensional, fourth dimensional. So as third and fourth dimensional beings, we only see it in pieces. We can't see broader. We can't see what's going on broader above us, right? So they can see everything what's happening with us, but we can't. So, and mostly it's higher forces that are in control of the situation, so it's really hard for us to understand. But all we can do for now is tune into them and understand what's happening through them. Kind of like talking to elders in a way, or people who are like adults. We're like the children and they're like the adults, and or the elders, and they know what's happening around, and we're like the children, and we have to kind of trust and hear what they're saying and know what's happening so that we don't panic, right? Trust the process, basically, right? So that's what we're basically doing, is we're just trusting the process of everything. So, but we have to tune in. We have to tune in and listen. If we don't tune in and we don't listen, then we'll be lost. We will feel lost. So we have to now start to tune in, start to connect to them, and connect to our inner voice as well, because our inner voice definitely tunes into them as well. And they will definitely tell us, or you will definitely listen to that voice. You can start off like that. If it's too overwhelming to feel like it's a person or an entity talking through you or with you, then just say that it's just your inner voice, that it's your higher self talking to yourself. It's a higher version of yourself, and you're tuning into that, and it's telling you, hey, it'll be all right. Or, hey, this is going to happen for a couple of months because of this and this. Why won't you do this for now? Why won't you, explore these situations? And then it's kind of like your buddy, comforting you, but it's yourself. But it's kind of like a different, version of yourself, like a wiser version of yourself. You can just think of it as like that, right? So those are ways to kind of endure the process of these situations, just to kind of slowly open yourself up to what's happening, right? And this involves many other people, not just in regarding to what's happening with me, or, what's happening to my colleagues, or my coworkers, let's just say, or people I've worked with in the past in the industry, right? It can happen to anyone. I think a lot of people are kind of going through issues at work and finances, and also, the mortgages are going up like crazy because, the recession, right? Because of this, now the interest and all the money, the interest in the houses and the mortgages are rising up like crazy, and people are drowning in that at the moment. So, and you can tell a lot of prices around stores, supermarkets, and are raising the prices higher. Gas prices are higher, even places like to do your daily shopping and grocery, those are like skyrocketing, right? The prices are skyrocketing everywhere. So that's kind of due to the result of the pandemic, I feel, because the prices and everything that's happening, it's a financial debt that the earth is going through, right? So the earth is going through a major financial debt. It's in debt, right? Because probably lost a lot of money during those years, right, during the pandemic, and now slowly trying to kind of, I'm guessing the governments are slowly trying to get the finances back in order. And how do you do that? Well, by raising the prices and everything around us, right? So that's what I noticed. And the mortgages, the interest in mortgages going up like crazy. So yeah, it can be quite a struggle, and less opportunities to get hired in certain jobs, maybe. In my case, animation industry, right? So we're going through a hiring freeze at the moment, so a lot of us are struggling in that sense. But I do feel that things will kick up again, surely, because I mean, I feel that there needs to be a pause also, because I feel, and I'm being told by my inner voice, and we can say inner voice, or we can say beings that I may channel, kind of have been giving us this warning that there has to be changes in certain corporations and certain companies. Things need to be rebooted, things need to be cleansed. Things can't continue on the way they were before. Things have to change. Why? Because there is a virus. There's a virus in many areas of these places and companies, and they need to be cleansed. So if we don't start cleansing it, if we don't start changing how the company is run, then the higher forces are going to take charge. And they are already taking charge because nothing is being done. So they take charge and they cleanse everybody out. They basically kick everybody else, and they have a whole reboot system in there, in your job, in the company, wherever this is. Because some places have viruses, and we may not see these viruses, but we definitely can feel it, and it impacts a lot of the employees, let's just say, right? It's contagious. The employees take that virus that's happening in the company. In these different jobs, I'm talking about different companies, different jobs out there that have been running a system that is quite toxic, and it's still being, there hasn't been any changes yet being done to these companies. So there has to be kind of like a sense of like a reboot, right? A cleanse, an uninstallment of these softwares, because there's viruses in there. And so once this kind of reboot happens, and it does affect all of us, we don't have jobs, let's just say, we have to kind of wait until this cleanse is happening, and this kind of restructuring of everything is happening. So you can see it as a maze as well. So there's a maze, and then suddenly all the maze are shifting and changing and then restructuring itself into a new form. So you're basically seeing it restructure again, becoming a new form. First, you have to cleanse it. Cleanse, because the way it's been running things, it's quite not good, right? So once everything is cleansed, uninstall these programs, cleanse the virus, then there's like a new restructuring going to be formed. And once it reforms and restructures, then all the little cells can come back or the employees can come back into it where they originally worked, or shift their life into a new direction, which is what this is also about. It's also about shifting your life, right? And that can sound scary. I understand that it can be quite scary to shift your life into a new direction, but that's what change is about. That's what growth is about, right? You have to start growing, you have to start changing, evolving, right? Otherwise, there is no learning here, right? In the earth, you have to start learning, you have to start evolving, you have to start stretching, and stretching can be scary, right? And it can hurt, but it is stretching. You are stretching, so it is something that is necessary to stretch, but it can be a little bit painful and scary because you're stretching, right? Kind of teaching you to get out of your comfort zone and experience new things, new potentials that you weren't aware of that you could create or that you can become, right? So this is also an opportunity, kind of like we're forced to kind of push ourselves out there, push ourselves to become something different, or push ourselves to see what other potentials we have and to grow and evolve, right? So these things happen for a reason, and there's multiple reasons why these situations are happening. And one, we mentioned, there's lots of viruses around the earth that needs to be cleansed and rebooted, right? And need to reinstall new softwares, right, for the sake of the earth, right? And because we're going through a shift as well. But also we're going through an internal shift, a shift within ourselves as well. So we have to shift, we have to change, we have to start growing into a new direction in our lives. So that's something that is going to be quite challenging as well and quite scary, but it is necessary for us too, right? So it's time for us to move forward and rediscover ourselves, right? Also to rest. And some of us need to rest a lot. We need to rest, right? To recover from, let's just say, survival mode, right? Because when we're at work, we usually are in a survival mode and we don't kind of realize it. We don't notice that. We don't notice it that until we have that little break and we start to feel how exhausted we really are, like in life, in everything, how our body just completely shuts down. So if you need to sleep, sleep. Let's just say if you're on a break and you're not working, right? Rest. Sleep as many hours as you can. That's happened to me before in the past as well. So just recover from yourself because you have been in survival mode for a very long time. And, sometimes there are certain illnesses we have inside that our physical body, ourselves, weren't able to focus on our physical body before, on our illness before, because we use all that energy and focus all that energy and strength to survive. But now that you have time to recover, now that you have time to rest, your cells of your body have the chance to check in and scan your whole body to see what's going on in there, right? So it's time for them to check on you so you can recover from certain illnesses that you may be going through that you are not aware of, right? Or to prevent any future illnesses, right? So that's why you may feel very exhausted because parts of your cells, parts of your body are going to be overworking themselves now to focus on your body now, on you. So no longer needing to be in survival mode, your body can now focus on you and your well-being and your recovery. So it will use its energy to catch up on everything that it missed throughout these years probably, right? So that's another advice I would give, is to just sleep and rest, because being in survival mode is not fun, right? It's you actually use 10 times more of your energy than usual, than in your normal mode. You have normal mode and survival mode, right? So your survival mode, you kind of use the most maximum power you run much more quickly than you usually would, right? It's kind of like a survival mechanism that your body is used to being. But if you do that for such a long time, your body is actually in reality very, very exhausted. Your body is very exhausted. And I say this because I went through that, right? So I went through that situation. As soon as I had my break from work, which was for a while, I realized, which hasn't been for a while, I realized how exhausted I was and how I needed to shut my body completely. And I needed to just sleep. I would sleep the whole day for a whole week. I would be sleeping on my bed the whole day for like almost a week. And then the second week, I couldn't even get up. I had to just stay still and just do passive hobbies and then take naps, lots of naps. And that's okay. That's part of the process of recovering. So make sure you do take those steps, or you do those things to rest and recover. So that's one thing I wanted to mention about. So yes, what is this cleanse about? I wanted to talk a little bit more about this cleanse, and it's quite interesting that I kind of channeled this the other day, a year ago probably. I think I channeled this a year ago. See, the thing about me is that I tend to channel and sense things, and then I don't know the science of it until I look in astrology and I take a look at the stars and I read where the planets are, what's happening astrologically. And I say, oh, that's why I feel this. That's why I sense this. And that's why I knew this was coming, right? So that's me. I'm more intuitive. I can kind of read what's happening with the stars in an intuitive way, but I don't really know like the facts about it until I take a look at the astrology and I say, oh, right, Pluto is here. Oh, Saturn is here, right? That's Venus, right? Okay, I see what's going on. So, yeah, so I kind of take a look at that, and I just kind of feel like, okay, I sense a bit of scorpion energy happening around right now. Oh yeah, it's scorpion season. I forgot, so it's like, that's how like I run. I'm more intuitive and I kind of sense it. And even in eclipses, when I sense eclipses, I feel the after effect of what the eclipse, like it really can hit me really hard. And then I realize, oh, it's an eclipse. That's why. So I have ability to be able to sense these things, right? And then I see the facts about it and see, oh, this is what's happening in the stars. That's why. And then that's why I can kind of sense beforehand, oh, well, we got to prepare for that, but I mostly just intuitively perceive these things and then see the results of it after. And I even warned my spouse before, telling him, okay, you should be finding another job soon because this is gonna happen soon in the animation industry. I'm telling you, I'm trying to look for other alternative career options. I even found the school now. And like, of course, they're never gonna believe me at first, right? And then until it hits, right? And then I'm just like, see, I told you so. I told you this was coming. But yeah, it takes time to actually, let go of the ego. The ego mind likes to take over. That's why. So, but we just need to trust our intuition more, because our intuition is a little bit more ahead than our ego minds, right? So what is this cleanse? And I kind of sensed it beforehand. I kind of felt like the animation industry was going to go through this kind of reboot, kind of cleanse. And what I sense is that, like I mentioned, I call it a karma cleanse. That's what I call it, a karma cleanse. And this is a karma cleanse that's happening to all of us, not just in the animation industry, but to many other people. And karma cleanses are necessary because we need to cleanse ourselves from what has happened throughout the years of being in one work environment, right? And or in one situation that we've been that can be quite toxic. So there has to be some sort of cleanse. There has to be some sort of break from that. And we're not aware of that, right? And for example, like I've experienced a karma cleanse early on. And the thing about me is that I experienced these things first, a bit early, before everyone experiences it. So I kind of am aware of what was that experience and what was the lesson of that experience, and understand it later on once other people start to get affected by it. And then I see, okay, I know why this is happening, and then I can tell everyone why it happened and why it's happening, right? So I experienced something like that first. And I feel those situations first, so that later on I can teach it to other people or let other people know why it's happening when they get hit by that wave. So I kind of feel the wave first, and then the rest kind of feel the wave afterwards. That's kind of like the ability I have. I don't know why, but I'm slowly discovering myself and understanding why. Probably just to it's kind of like the Weather Channel. It's kind of like predicting, right? Predicting the weather before it comes. So that's kind of like what I am, except I'm actually, instead of being the device that you see on TV telling you, hey, this is the weather, I kind of am the tool that experiences it first, physically or intuitively, then lets everyone know what happened. That's kind of like what I am. It's kind of strange, but I am slowly kind of discovering it more and more myself, what it's about. So but yeah, so this karma cleanse, from what I experience and from what I sense, is that it's kind of like a little break away from what you've been doing for a while. Kind of breaking away from the routines that you've been living for quite a while, quite a long time now, for many years probably, going through this same routine. And it doesn't need to apply to jobs. It can just apply to other things as well in your life. And that's been kind of toxic. It's a toxic routine. And it needs to be removed so that there can be a cleanse in that situation. A cleanse, a healing, right? A restructuring of that situation before it can be brought back, or before we can continue on in our routines and how we were living before, or take on a new direction, right? Perhaps we don't need to go back, but we take on a new direction in our life, depending on the situation, depending on the person, depending on each individual. Every story is different and every lesson is different, right? So depending on you and depending on your situation as an individual and your life journey and your purpose will determine whether you go back or whether you try something new, right? But there has to be a cleanse. There has to be a detoxification of the situation, right? So that's what is happening. And this detoxification can take a 1 year. And I feel like it's for a couple of months, probably 10 months to 1 year. So depending on our vibrational state, right? Who's going to be affected first, right? To go through this process. And usually people that get affected first, get the first wave, are usually people that are stronger and need to be there for the ones who get affected by the wave last. So yeah, if you were affected, you were the first wave, then be the one to teach other people what's happening and to calm them down and to make them aware that this is what needs to be done. Because as someone who experienced it, you know the outcome of it and you know how beneficial it is, right? So being, one of the first wave, I feel like I should explain about it and talk about it, right? And that it's a normal process and you will see the results and the benefits of it at the end of the year, probably. You may not notice it now, but later on you will notice it and you will see how much you changed and how much it was good for you. And you will see that, oh, okay, I see. This is why I needed to break out of that pattern. Because if I was in that pattern still, I would never notice it or you would never be aware of it. But once you're removed from that environment, you will slowly start to see why it was good to be removed from there. And that it was actually a blessing in disguise, right? And as you go through your healing process, you'll see, oh, I see, right? This is why, right? I needed to be removed from there. And you'll see how much better you personally become, like how you slowly blossom into this new form and how you slowly heal from those situations again. And you become more aware. You become more aware of why you had to be removed, let's just say, from that situation, from whatever situation it is, why we had to be removed, right? So yes, this is a karma cleanse, and we just need to cleanse ourselves from what we were going through before. And so that if you do decide to go back to whatever that situation that the universe removed you from, because it is the universe removing us from those situations, believe it or not. It's not really the people. It's not really them. It's the universe. The universe or outside forces are the ones removing us from that situation because it can see how much damaging it was for you, right? And then you can decide whether to come back or to move on to somewhere new. New opportunity, new job opportunities, better places, better environments, better, let's just say, maybe better relationships, better businesses, partnerships, etc. Whatever it is, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about today, and I just wanted to make this one short, a little short conversation about what's happening right now. I'll probably talk about it more later on as I do intuitively tune in more and channel more. I'll express it more here because I want this to be a channel of self-expression and awareness and kind of like a newscast for things that are upcoming for everyone, kind of like a little prediction, psychic prediction, intuitive prediction, or counseling session, let's just say, or a little podcast that you can listen at night or in your free time, whichever you like. I'm just that pal that will always be there for you and give you company whenever you feel like there are challenging times. So I'm like that comfort pillow comfort blanket. So yes, so I hope you enjoyed this session. I'll make sure to talk more about this later and express more about these situations further on. So have a lovely good night or afternoon or morning, whichever time of the day you are at. And I'll see you guys really soon. All right. Have a good one. Bye.